Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Just give a moment or two for everyone to join up and we'll get started.
Quick question.
Yes.
You wanted us on mute and on video off?
Whatever you're comfortable with, mute is ideal while I'm talking, but by all means, if you have a question, please unmute and ask it.
Okay, or are we going to use the chat?
You can use the chat as well. I won't be really paying that much attention to it, to be honest with you.
Okay, cool.
But I do have it up. Feel free to jump in and ask a question.
Great.
So. All right, we're going ahead and get started because we are on a little bit of a time crunch. We only got a half an hour, and then I'm doing another event in an hour from now. So my name's Darren Orange. I've directed Inspectors, the feature-length film. If you guys are familiar with Inspectors, it was a role-playing game by Jared Sorensen. And I'm here to basically talk with you guys about low-budget, no-budget filmmaking. I know a lot of people out there feel the pressure of trying to make a film is so high when it comes to the costs that are involved with it, especially from camera equipment, from people, from food, just time in general. So basically the thing that we should start off on is talking about your script and story idea, because fundamentally, if your idea is crazy and involves aliens and robots in different worlds, it's never going to pan out. You're probably not going to be able to make it on a no budget situation. So what you should really start looking at initially is locations. Get inspired by the things that are already right in front of you. Don't try to invent something new. Try to go and find things you're already familiar and comfortable with, because then if you can tell a story in an environment you're already comfortable with, you're probably going to have a better bet at making it for a significantly smaller dollar amount. It might also just be in your house. It might be at a friend's house. It might be at a park down the street. Obviously, you can get away with a lot as a no-budget filmmaker because you can pretty much guerrilla filmmake across the board as long as you're not doing anything crazy. Two people chatting in a park at a bench isn't going to attract a whole lot of attention. There's only 4 or 5 people there making that happen. So focus on your story, keep the ideas simple, and try not to overcomplicate your locations or setups. So that's the biggest thing that people tend to do. And Inspectors, I kind of made that mistake. We had like 15 different locations in that film, and they were all over the place. Made it extremely hard. The film I'm now working on involves basically one primary location, which is what I recommend. If you can make a location be roughly 60% of your movie, that's going to save you a huge amount of time, effort, and pain, especially for cast and crew. Which brings me to my second point with the story. Anything you can cheat in that story, and by cheat, I mean make work at an easier location, do that. So for example, the film that I'm working on right now, we need a house bar where someone's having drinks at their house bar. Our house happens to have a bar in the basement. So we're going to shoot at our bar in the house rather than go to some other location and try to make it work there. And the other location is actually supposed to be on a farm. So we're going to cheat the basement that we have here already available to us as being the basement there. So we don't have to travel that distance to get to that location as much, especially if your actors and your crew are all going to be relatively local to you. Keeping their commute down to a minimum is going to be appreciative. You can spend more time putting good stuff in front of camera than trying to get to and from a location, especially if you can't shoot for multiple days in a row, which is an important thing to keep in mind. Don't try to do too much on any given day. Keep people fresh. And when you're on a no budget production, try to do 4-hour, 5-hour shoot days. Keep it light, keep it refreshing. Always end on a high note, a hangout, a little bit of a good time. Don't feel like you're rushed trying to get home. That's not fun for anyone. You want to keep the experience enjoyable such that people keep coming back. So that's where I'm going to jump into the next thing. So planning. This is probably the one thing that no budget productions tend to let go of, and it's the most important thing you can do. You've got this fantastic script. You got to sit down with your DP. Maybe it's yourself or whoever is going to be assistant helping you, any group you're going to have. Most of the time in small, no budget productions, you're going to have less than 5 people. So sit down with any other significant person that's going to be there on set helping you and discuss with them their shot list. So take that script, get a marker out, and literally start drawing lines through it where you view a shot. I want here and here to be a close-up of this person, and write that down. Then once you have it all mapped out, all these shots written, scribbled on this sheet, take it home, or if you're already at home, just sit down at your computer and type it into a spreadsheet and come up with a numbered shot list. If you do that, it's going to make your on-day production that much smoother. People will know what's going on. You can have conversations about it beforehand, send it to all your cast and crew and say, here's our shot list today, here's what we're doing. And they can actually then take the sheet you wrote plus a copy, which I'd recommend making a copy of your script with your lines all numbered out so they can see exactly what's getting done in each shot. This is going to make your life on set infinitely easier. A small amount of pre-production time that really doesn't cost you anything is going to make your on-set production that much better. You won't have to explain yourself as much, whether you're a producer or a director or a DP or even the actor. Everyone benefits from that. And I recommend that whoever the primary people are that making those decisions need to sit down, discuss it, and figure out what your shot list is going to be for that day. Which comes to the next big thing that gets missed a lot or forgotten about on set, and that really is communication when it comes to your camera. So this is a slate. This is one of the biggest things that low budget productions tend to not execute on well because they don't have enough people. Find someone that can multitask and someone that can track your shot list, usually going to be your AD. Believe it or not, your AD, your script suit might be the same person. You got to get this. You got to use a slate. They can be bought for like 20 or 30 bucks. This is a $100 one. It does cool things like lighting up. So it's nice when we're in dark situations. So we've had use cases for that. And then when you do clap it, it gives you a light. So it's easier to sync your audio in post. But most importantly, what people don't do, and I've noticed this, you've got to get this slate up in front of camera before camera starts rolling. A lot of people don't do that. It makes it real hard in post-production when you can't easily read what your shot information is. You want to get this up in front, then roll camera, then you want to do your slate, get it out of the way, and that way you've got everything documented. Then when you go back and log everything on that same spreadsheet, you can go and take your number of shots. You can write down how many shots for each one you did and have this ongoing log for all your different scenes, which is going to make your post-production that much easier. So moving on from that, communication to on set, this is a simple walkie-talkie. Get some walkie-talkies. Things used to be really expensive. I know we're talking no budget, but we got 6 of these for $100. You can get like 2 for 20 or something like that. They're extremely inexpensive, but where you don't have to go around on set yelling and screaming for people, which is no fun. Even if it's in someone's house and you're outside, you're trying to ask for something or want to know what's going on with something or trying to communicate a very simple piece of information, these walkie-talkies are great. Not only are they good for that, but as some of you know, obviously you can have a megaphone on set and yell at people, which is fun sometimes, but this is useful in most situations where you're outside and far away. But if everyone's got a walkie-talkie on set, you don't have to even do that. You can speak into the walkie-talkie, announce all the calls, keep one at base camp, wherever that may be, if you've got a place where all your equipment's at, or people are waiting to go on set, and that way that you can hear all the calls through the walkie-talkies and everyone knows what's going on at all times. Get some walkie-talkies. They're a lifesaver. We had a shot with a car. We had to drive a car, and we really used a walkie-talkie to communicate so they could reset, and we didn't have to yell or scream or anything weird. Obviously, you could use a cell phone too for those kinds of situations if you really are in a pinch, but frankly, walkie-talkies are the way to go. Which comes to the next thing, to reduce the number of people on set, right? How do you simplify your on-set production with gear and equipment? Technology is changing all the time, and it's kind of one of the new things that's happened right now is for your audio purposes. Audio is one of the things that also gets left behind on set most of the time. This is a microphone from Rode. It's the VideoMic NTG. This is $250. It's not free, but it's not $1,000 like a Sennheiser 416 is. So you can get this, and this actually has a safety channel to where you can set this up, not have to have an audio person, even though I recommend it, but you could skate by without it. Use a safety channel, which basically reduces the dB by 20 dB from your set. You know, if someone yells or screams and it blows out the audio, that will save your audio. It will record 2 channels to the left and right, and it will save you in post-production so you don't have to track it constantly. And in combination with that, you can use a very simple mic stand like this. It was 20 bucks. Hook this up. Your 2 people are talking. Mic this above them. Get it out of your shot. You don't even have to have someone booming it over. You can be creative and have it work just fine. Put it right over the head, right out of shot. That saves a lot of effort, a lot of time, and is going to make your on-set presence much smaller. Remember, less people on set, the quicker it works, technically the less it costs, and the easier it's going to be to communicate all the ideas and make sure everyone's on the same page. Moving on from that, another trick that I recently picked up on are these really stupidly cheap LED lights. This is a ring light. Right now, it was on sale on Amazon for like 25 bucks. But the cool part about it is that it's USB powered, which most people are familiar with for the most part. But you've got your USB, so you could usually use a USB brick, something like this, right? And you would plug it into a wall. Well, also, if you go and grab a battery bank like I have here, which is about 6,000 amp hours or milliamp hours, you can plug it in, turn it on, and have immediately a wireless light that can go anywhere without a plug, without a setup, without anything, just works. And it'll probably run, I think my testing is like about 3 hours on this little battery bank, and you're just done. In this case, this also has 3 different color temperatures and it has 10 different modes of brightness. This light here was on sale for 25 bucks with the stand, all this stuff, and this was $10. So 35 bucks, you've got yourself a very easy to use light that can go anywhere and be ready to shoot and match your color temperature. On top of that, if you've got technology like that, your on-set time's gonna go down. You're gonna spend more time focusing on what's in front of your camera rather than what's behind your camera. Which then brings me to the next thing that's come around is camera technology. This is probably more expensive than what most people want to work with in a no budget situation, but it's still very close to it. As we were just recently dealing with cameras that cost way beyond this price point. This is a Z-Cam, similar to Blackmagic. I think most of you guys are familiar with Blackmagic. The cost point entry for cameras is very low relative to what it used to be. The camera like this would have cost 10 years ago $50,000, just like the Blackmagic would have, right? You really got to jump on these smaller cameras, but you don't have to have the most expensive one. This guy is like right in the same ballpark of the cost as a Blackmagic. And the benefits are these lesser priced models, right? Or that your technology is simpler. This uses standard MP batteries, things like that. You don't have anything too complicated. EF lenses, I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with. You can come by those pretty simply, which also then comes next to my statement about glass on set. Use zooms. You're in a no budget situation. Don't mess with primes. You're going to waste so much time changing your lenses, figuring it all out. It's just not worth it. This is a Tokina 11 to 16. We have an 18 to 35 and a 50 to 100 Sigma, the art lenses, and that's all we're using on set at the moment, just those 3 lenses. And essentially you've got 11 all the way to 100. And we change lenses once in a while. It's not like we're doing it a lot because of that wide range. The next bit that's kind of unusual, but it really kind of brings back the concept of price point. This is remarkable. This is a Nucleus N. And on set, this is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to allow you to pull focus. So this is a wireless follow focus. And I know for a lot of people, it sounds like it's an expensive endeavor, but it's no longer. So you've got your wireless follow focus here, and you've got this here. This is actually the mount motor that goes on your rails right here and can lock in and actually move the focus on your lens. This system, which blows my mind, this is great for no budget filmmakers. Something like this 10 years ago would have been $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. Now you can get this for, I think, at 230 bucks on Amazon. It's kind of really game changing because everyone wants, like, a lot of these focus things you can get, the ones that actually, the focus pullers, they actually can go on the rails are kind of expensive, generally speaking. So the fact that this is so cheap and it's wireless is kind of pretty much amazing in that regard. So you can just go ahead and mount it wherever you want under the camera, pull focus as if it's right there attached to it, or take it off and have someone pull focus for you remotely. That's obviously a great opportunity that we just didn't have at all. I want to say just even a couple of years ago, it would have been well over $1,000, cost as much as your camera would have, or more than your camera would have just a couple of years ago. So how to get money, how to do things. Obviously, I'm not advocating anyone go out there and invest a bunch of money in things, but what I am advocating is take your time, find the right gear, find the right pricing on it, buy it, own it. Honestly, to rent something like a Red, you're going to spend basically over the course of a weekend or a week what the entire budget for your whole film potentially could be, right? So you want to have something to where you can own the equipment and have the equipment so you can shoot at will. Don't go investing massive amounts of money into gear that A, is beyond your ability to potentially use, and 2, gear that you're never going to see the benefit of. It's just not worth it. Focus on what's in front of the camera, focus on the script and the planning and story. And I guarantee all these other little pieces are going to completely fall into place for you. And then you can kind of evolve as you go. Obviously, things like we're looking at, you're seeing here right now is not very expensive in the grand scheme of things relative to what you could spend on things, but also it's not as cheap. You can go get a 5D Mark II, a 7D. You can go get a lot of different cameras today. They're a lot less expensive. Even Zcam, who makes this, makes a camera that's only 800 bucks, shoots 4K raw. It's $800. I mean, it's cheaper than Blackmagic even, for example. So there's a lot of entry points you can get to. Buy yesterday's technology too. You can do that as well. So that's more or less my take on how to make the on-set, less costly and your time on set less costly. Don't focus on the gear, focus on what's in front of the camera before you even get to that point, and then go and find deals on things, and don't buy stuff unless it's a sale, a good deal, or a good price point. Take your time and find that better deal, because it'll get there. And if you can't afford it right then buy the pieces over time. Don't buy it all at once. You don't have to either. But things also, just to mention, like something as silly as like the rods on this camera that are here. Again, 10 years ago, these are carbon fiber rods, would have been like $120. Now you can get a pair of them for 20 bucks, $15. So you just got to find the right stuff. And today's a good time to get into it, because the prices and stuff are finally become easy to come by as far as pricing. So you can get these pieces and not have to feel like you're buying the bank. You're spending all your money at once, buy the parts and things like that. So I guess I'll sum it up at that point. I'm going to take questions so I can answer any of your questions. What do you guys have? I'm seeing things. Shotless is spray and pray, correct? Oh, COVID, there are a few guidelines. Yeah, there are guidelines for COVID. In the state of Illinois, there are official guidelines. Technically, your productions, you're not really following any guidelines mostly anyway, unless you're going to go get a permit and you're going to go get insurance and do those other things. It's probably not in your wheelhouse to do at the entry level. So if you're concerned with the people you're working with COVID, I would recommend holding and not doing anything until you're safe or feel comfortable. But again, it's your call. It's how you want to handle it. I'm not going to get into that too much. Yes, there is. Anyone can reach me at darrenorange88@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook, Darren Orange, and I'm happily go through all the stuff with you guys. Again, if you guys like this, I'm happy to do a follow-up video that we have more time with. I just kind of wanted to get something in for Gen Con. I am recording, so if you guys want the video, I'll try to get it out there and make it available to you. I'm looking to make costume music. Costume music, any recommendation for less expensive fluid head tripod? Sure, fluid head tripod I can directly answer. The one right here is 180 bucks. It's the Kayer BV25LH. This is great. It's carbon fiber, which is crazy. So I mean, this whole rig, I can pick up, I got my mic stand with one hand, no problem. And it's not hard to move around as it is. It's got an adjustable head, so you can level your head easily. You've got to get that on a tripod. Don't buy one unless you can level the head to get the level correct. You would never start with a big budget science fiction fantasy film. I would not recommend that. I would not recommend that. Best for an absolute beginner, take your phone and start filming. Find a subject and just film a basic narrative of someone like cooking breakfast in the morning and sitting down and having it. Find the simple things in life. Take your phone or any device you already have to shoot with, and just go and make something. The best camera you have is the one you own today. And don't forget that. If you can't afford something different or don't want to afford something different, take what you got and work what you got, because the opportunity won't come back. Advice I actually directly got from George Romero. I talked with him. He said, just take whatever you got and go shoot today. Stop wasting time. I think that's the best advice. Let's see, during independent series panel, they were suggesting shooting on phones. I would not shoot on a phone, but if that's all you got and you want to start at the beginning and just learn basic framing and everything, by all means, shoot with a phone. I wouldn't do it. I would buy anything I mean, you can get some pretty cheap cameras nowadays. Go get a T2i and film with it. You can buy one, I think, for probably less than 200 bucks. T2i is a sibling camera that came out with the 7D back in the DSLR craze in like 2010. Go get that. In fact, that's probably one of the best cameras to start with. If you don't have any experience, go get a T2i, Canon T2i, and start with it. Gives you 1080p, gives you a Super 35 sensor. Almost any computer today can edit that. Start with a T2i, I would recommend. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, you guys got to go out there and make it happen. That's really what you got to do for video editing, post-production software. Yeah, so actually right now I'm working on a film and my colorist works in Resolve. So currently I'm actually started to play with Resolve. I find it really intuitive. It's a little bit different than Premiere, but I got used to it within a matter of probably like 20 minutes. It wasn't that hard. It's just just the perspective is a little different. But once you get used to it, it became actually now I think it's easier. It feels like a hybridization between Premiere and like Avid. Avid's great. It's kind of expensive. I wouldn't use it today. I used to love it because it felt like you were playing an instrument rather than editing. Premiere feels like you're dealing with this giant toolbox of stuff, and it's kind of distracting. It's not. Yeah, Resolve. Definitely go with Resolve. Free out of the box, 1080p. If you want to upgrade, it's 300 bucks. I mean, you can't beat that. Right now with Premiere, you got to pay those fees and all other stuff. It's kind of lame. It is what it is. It's not horribly expensive, but if you want to own something, get Resolve. I don't think that his book applies to today's world because on today's so technical. Back then it was very analog, obviously with film and everything. I think that his ideas make sense, but you got to be some kind of talent to pull that off. And honestly, feedback from people is very useful and very helpful. If you just run with it yourself, you're kind of foregoing a lot of opportunity to work with other people. And I have to be completely frank with the fact that the best part of filmmaking is working with other people. I love that part of it. It's the only reason why I do it, to be honest with you, is that teamwork and camaraderie. And in my case, I work with a lot of people I've known for a very long time at this point. So it's like a group of friends getting together to make something. That's the best part of filmmaking to me. Yeah, Final Cut's neat. It's just that you can only use it on OS X. I wish they would have been more nice to the people back when. I probably would have still been. I'd still be using Final Cut probably if it hadn't been for that whole Final Cut X debacle when they made that transition. But if you weren't around for that, it doesn't matter to you. What do you want to use for music? Music editing. Music video editing or just music editing. I don't think about music much at all besides knowing it's very important while I'm actually working on the edit. Any other questions, everybody? Any questions about transition packs? Yes, inspectors. Right now it's free. It's free to anyone that's part of Gen Con or at Gen Con. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. If you have a Prime stick, it's free with Prime. I will post a link right now for you guys. Give me 1 second. But it is free right now for anyone that would like to view it. It's on Vimeo. I will post the link. That's my feature, Inspectors, based on the role-playing game. I've also directed a short film for Hellraiser as more of a fan project. I'm friends with the director from the second Hellraiser film. So that would be what I am doing there. Let's see, I get you this link. Should I be hanging out in the green room? Is that what it's for filmmakers and stuff? I don't really know as far as the Discord channels where I should be hanging out. Where's everyone else hanging out at? I do not have that, but I will post this video and I will share it as soon as I figure out how to do all that, and I will get it into the group and send it to you guys. How about that? Does that work? And I can definitely I can follow up with anyone. Again, my email, I'll post it. If you want anything like as far as the list goes, just email me there, and I'll send you a list back. I'll help any question you got. I'll help you out with. So let me get that. Let me get the link for the Hellraiser thing for you guys. Any other questions? Yeah, thanks, Michael. Obviously, I'm back in about a half an hour for the next one, but I'll stay here as long as the session allows me to keep it open and running. So if you guys have any additional questions, please shoot them over. How do you get your foot in the door to the industry? You don't. You put your foot through the door to get into the industry. I'm not really in the industry per se. I mean, I've made a feature. I don't do this full time, you know, or anything like that. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to have fun with them, trying to get there, but it's something you kind of, especially if you're talking about no budget, if you're starting off and you're trying to work with nothing, don't expect to have huge success. You got to enjoy what you're doing, and then the success will come by default, honestly. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Charles. Yeah, I try to keep everything condensed. I know that other seminars can get really, really distracted or kind of go in nebulous worlds of things. I don't like any of that. It's kind of lame, I think. I kind of want to keep things to the point. Also, the cool part about being here at home, which I wouldn't do bring to Gen Con, I have all this stuff here that's available, you know, technology-wise. So it's all available and whatnot. I can actually show you guys all that information. Yeah, I know the light's still on. I guess it's still on. Yep. Yep. Best performance when time is limited. Planning. If you want actors to get the best performance, again, that shot list is key. Create the shot list, get it out to your actors initially, go over it with them. You can jump on the phone and do that, right? And review all of it. I would recommend that. I work with a select group of people. I don't really hunt for actors per se, if that makes any sense. If I'm looking for someone in particular, I ask the actors I'm already working with to help me find the right person. Because honestly, you're better off just working with the people you know or are familiar with, and working with people that they're familiar with, you'll have a better time. It'll make them happier. I'd recommend doing that. And then from there, use your gut to cast them in the right place. You can tell. I mean, when you meet someone, you can tell if they're right for a role or not. You don't really have to put them through hell and back to get a role. I don't make people read. No, this is not the beginning, Carl. I am sorry. I'm here answering all questions about filmmaking. No, Carl, anyone who is here just getting in and whatnot, this video will be posted and shared. You will get the replay. You will get the replay. I will share the videos. I will put it up on YouTube or however I do that, and I will get it to you guys. So everyone will be covered. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, that's why I'm recording it in case there's any issues. I want everyone to be able to get access to this. I will be at Gen Con next year. I am probably going to do a bigger panel now because I wasn't expecting as big a response as I got to this, and do one that's more encompassing across all the different topics I want to talk about, and try to do it that way. If that sounds good to you guys, if you'd like to be kept informed about that, I will email me. Again, my email address is here. You can also find me on Facebook. Email if you'd like to have a bigger event next year. Maybe I'll bring some of the equipment and things like that down, and do like an interactive seminar thing like that for everyone. Something that's a little more robust. Any other questions, everyone? Any other questions? We still got like 8 minutes left for this session, so I can hang out for 8 more minutes. I have no problem with that. You typing? You didn't. Yeah, hold on one second. You're right. Thank you. Let me post all the links. I don't know if the links actually went to you guys. I'll get you guys a link for inspectors. 1 second. And also, yeah, let me bring up Discord. I'll jump into the green room too, if you guys want to chat over there as well. I'll hang out here on video just because I can, and it adds more content for you guys to have later, possibly. I just gotta find the green room. What are your thoughts about getting into film festivals? Don't mess with film festivals, waste of time. I'll talk about that at the panel coming up. To discuss a little bit more. Yeah, it's just gonna be a waste of your money. If you're looking at low budget, don't mess with that. Cool, Kevin. I will accept here shortly once I get into my break period and to go grab a drink. Carl, I mean that's fine. I love film festivals, but I've just found them to not net a whole lot of benefit, especially when their costs are high to get in. Yeah, Kevin, I'd love to check out your trailer. That's my only complaint. I don't like the fact that they're so expensive nowadays. I get they take money to run. I appreciate and love all the people that work so hard on them, but it's just $150, $50. Carl, if you got a cheap one, I'd happily submit to one of yours, no problem. But I just don't want to spend $150. There we go. That's fair. I'm okay with that. But some of them are expensive. You got to agree with me on that. $150, $140, anything over $100 for someone who spent a couple grand on their movie gets a little crazy. Easy on the film festivals. It just depends. Some of them are a lot of fun. You just got to get into the right one. The goofier the one, the less serious the film festival, the better, from my experience. So. Next panel is about independently distributing your film. Then that's in about 30 minutes from now. Yeah, if you guys have any things you want opinions on or want ideas on, please email me or friend me on Facebook or whatever. I'm any good. There aren't any good sources for royalty-free audio. The best place is, there isn't. I hate to tell you that, but and what audio do you mean? You want score or do you want sound effects? What kind are you talking about there? That has a lot to do with things. Top mistakes they make, not planning. That's the biggest mistake. They don't plan, they don't have a shot list, they don't have a vision. They've done a good job communicating to other people. And they don't have continuity in their team, meaning they don't have that experience with their team yet to be able to make that work well. No. Planning does not equal money. A shot list does not require money to produce. And I think that's one of the things no one does. No one produces a shot list because time is, well, I don't know. Most of my shot lists have been made at breweries having a beer while making a shot list of my DP. And that doesn't cost a whole lot of money and I have a good time with it. So I don't know if a shot list shouldn't take money. Also, people don't do this. This is a big thing. They just blow off the slate because they don't have plan. Oh, yes. Well, yeah, of course. I agree with that, Kevin. If you don't have money and you don't make time for things, then you're in trouble. But if I don't recommend people try to make filmmaking a full-time gig. So I recommend, Yeah, this is the most important thing, but you need a shot list to make this effective. Otherwise, you have no idea what you're really doing because you don't have any framework for anything. What else you guys got? Again, the whole walkie-talkie thing, you know, I mean, actually, one of the things I could talk about directors, they don't have confidence. They don't know what they want. They kind of get on set for the first time early on. They don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to communicate with people and they don't have a, so for me, generally speaking, when I'm on set, I'm not the same person. I'm acting. Directors act when they're on set. So don't, you have to become kind of a radically different person than you are in person. I also recommend like working out a little bit to do set work. Try to work out basic things. A little bit of cardio goes a long way from my experience. Nonfiction. Yeah, because so even for nonfiction, right? If you're gonna go, so a documentary filmmaker usually has by design an outline, right? A structure that they want to tell story-wise. And they're gonna produce a go-to shot list that they believe that they can get that to execute the story they want to tell. Because the documentary, more often than not, they're a dockered documentary. They're planned out in structure because you want to get what you want to get in the story you want to tell. I mean, no one really tells the documentaries openly. So get a link to your face. You want to, yeah, I will get that. 1 second, guys. I got like 3 minutes left before it cuts me off. There you go. Yeah, I'll go to the green room. I'm also in Chicago or in Chicagoland, by the way, for those that I didn't mention that. I am in Illinois. So let's see, the primary coder, so I'm this one, I'm not the keyboard. Yeah, I'm a computer science guy, so I hear you on that for sure. It actually helps. Being tech savvy in today's filmmaking world is critical. In fact, I would have never gotten into filmmaking if it hadn't been for my tech savviness back when everything started switching in the early 2000s. I went to college and from 02 to 06, and back then was when the big swing to everything digital. People do make movies, but you have to have a story you can tell and make without money in order to do that, though, which is sometimes easier said than done. Database work. Yeah, technology is key. If you got tech down, like this is all just a computer in a box. It's all it is. And it's a light sensing box with some technology attached to it. It's not very fancy at the end of the day. It just happens to do the job, I guess. So, and glass is important. I mostly do my own thing. I'm not usually doing other people's work. Inspectors was Jared Sorensen's role-playing game that we converted into a feature-length film. That was obviously not original. The Hellraiser thing was not original. The one I'm working on now, The Brewer, is completely original. And maybe if you guys make it to the next one or when I have questions about that, I'm writing this. I wrote another script. It was too expensive. I made that mistake. So mostly make my own things. I recommend you doing that as well if you want to produce or direct. But anyway, we're about to end in one very soon, guys. Thank you all for coming. Wish you all the very best. Please be safe, and I'll see you next year at Gen Con, everyone.